Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Before I walk you through how we manage our tool chain at BMW in a safety-relevant environment, just a few words about my person. I'm Fotios Nisiropoulos. I'm now 20 years at BMW. Started there in the head unit development department with the E60, the 5 Series, and later on I was mainly in the IT department, caring for after sales and dealer management systems. And after about 10 years, I wanted to go back to the core product of BMW, which is the vehicle, and started there in the software logistics department and was responsible for various car projects so that the right software comes in the right vehicle. And around about 2016, I got the first time in touch with the ISO 26262. I was there, oh, okay, thanks.
Just give me one more minute and then I have.
Okay. And as I said, this was the first time I got in touch with the ISO and functional safety. And to be honest, I didn't really know what's going on there. And also, I'm also in the team. I don't like PDF documents and long regulations to read them. But unfortunately, there was no way out for this, and I had to do so. And in 2019, I then took over a position like the expert team lead for tool safety at EF, which encompasses the driving dynamics and also the autonomous driving at BMW. Currently, I'm phasing out from this function, and I'm going to take new challenges and new tasks. And Sama here in front will be my successor, or is already my successor, and she will carry on this great work which we have done so far. Okay, so functional safety, no uncharted territory for BMW. It is one of our core topics in our development, especially when we have a safety relevant development where we are developing brakes, steerings, autonomous functional functions, and but around about 2017, we had to face some new challenges. First of all, we were introducing and establishing a real agile working model. Why real? We had kind of agile working model, but it was a little bit typical for BMW, tailored for BMW. But this time, this was a real disruptive change. On the other, the reason for this was that we wanted to conduct a substantial shift from buy to make software, especially for the ADAS function or in general for the driving assistance functions. And for this purpose also, we moved out from the FITS in the Knorrstraße, Unterschleißheim, to the autonomous driving campus, where we had completely new offices, which were tailored to the working model for feature teams, for product owners, etc., etc. And this also included another fact that we needed a lot of new people, developers, software developers, people who know how to develop embedded software. But the problem is you don't get them and they don't grow in the trees. So especially if you need people which have experience in the automotive business. So there are several challenges, as you see here. But the other thing is you have to keep in touch with the rest of the company. Even if you develop in an agile model, you have interfaces, and your interface partners, they are waiting for certain artifacts that you give them. So you can't go there and tell them, well, the software for this ECU will come in about 2 or 3 sprints. They say, no, they will come to this sprint and to this sync point because we have to build cars in the factory. And in 2021, we had this deadline for the start of production of the iX series. As you see, here are a lot of challenges and topics that had to be managed until the SOP. But also this little guy hit us, which didn't make the tasks that we had even easier. So yeah, there was this saying used, we have a problem, but it was more, we need a plan how to cope with all these challenges. As I said, we had a completely new setup for in our development department. And one piece in the ISO is, of course, yeah, the tool safety. Next to many other requirements deriving from the ISO. But the problem was, you came there and there was, yeah, a little bit like Wild West. Yeah, there were developers, feature teams, people who, yeah, were too much involved in the working model and less in the product. And Milena and Reinhard and a few other people from my team, we ran around all departments and tried to find out which tools do we have at all. Yeah, what is our quantity structure at all, and what is the scope of all this? And during all this, yeah, phase that we had for hunting and chasing for tools, we found that we have mainly 4 pillars, which are really important if you have to do such a thing like tool classification and tool qualification. The first is, and it's as simple as it sounds, go out and systematically collect your tools. This means go from department to department, talk with the people, talk with the department managers. What tools are you using and what for? This is really a difficult task. It takes a lot of time, but there is no other way around. We had a few lists in Excel and so on. Yeah, there were tools and some people you can talk to, but they didn't feel responsible for the tools. They said, "Oh, I'm the user. Don't know what new version. I don't know. Use case. Well, I do this and that. Artifacts. Where do they go? Maybe somewhere. Yeah, or I have no clue." Really difficult situation because time is running. Yeah, and you have to catch up as quick as possible. But we managed to get there an arrangement with all the departments and department managers so that we get a list and at least the quantity structure, which is really key and indispensable, so that you know what you are doing and how much time it will take. The second one is draw it. Literally draw boxes on a paper or in software, in a system where you can see where the tools are. And that not only boxes, plain boxes and some arrows with the artifact flow, attribute them with, for example, which process step is involved in this, or which artifacts are involved, who's responsible, who owns this tool, where can you go to and talk to if there's an update or a change in the use case for this tool. And identify the interfaces, not only the technical interfaces, this is quite easy often, but the organizational and processual interfaces. Because at this point, we talk about responsibility, and no one really wants to take responsibility because this is difficult. Yeah, some authorities may come up and ask you questions that you don't like, but it is really necessary to define this. And the best way to do this is to define a low threshold process and define roles for the people who are responsible for this. Yeah, make the process for collecting the tools, for change requests as easy as possible so that the people accept it and don't feel like there's a high burden to overcome until they get their tool legalized in that sense. And the last point is, and this is yeah, a point that you do practically is the last step, automate as far as possible and as soon as possible all the administrative tasks that you have to do. And the fifth one is stay away from Excel. Honestly, don't do such stuff like tracking lists or tool lists in Excel, because the point is not when it breaks, is not if it breaks, it will break. Yeah, at some point There are some collisions, data get lost, and so on. Excel is no database. Yeah. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper. What we have done. We are administrating our tools in Codebeamer, which is basically a requirements management system. But the nice thing is you can set up lists there, which are traceable, which have a document history. You see what has changed, who has changed it, and it is a database. So in the beginning, we didn't know which attributes we need for a tool. Is it only the name? Is it the version or whatever? So we had a lot of attributes that you see here. Yeah, from what is the tool version? Who is the owner? Which is the use case? Which is in a simplified way because you just to have an idea what does this tool do? Yeah, what is the input? What is the output? Etc. 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 Today we know these are far too many, and we have to simplify this. Yeah, but at that point or at that stage, we were too uncertain, and so we decided, okay, let's collect as many data as possible, and we sort them out later. For the use case, as I said, the detailed information is in the TCRs or in the TQRs because there's the analysis that is conducted by VALIDAS. There's all the documentation in, but for the first overview, this is good enough and yeah, helps us a lot because you have all functionalities there, so you can search for this. About the number of tools that we're currently using, we're at about 500 tools that are used there in our departments over 2 architectural generations. All in all, we checked nearly 1,000 tools. And the question then comes up, what is a tool? Yeah, the developers say, well, a tool is something that you buy and this and this and that. There comes another one and say, I'm using Excel because I have some CSV exports. Is this also a tool? Well, we say it depends what you do with this. But we had to exclude a few, for example, like IDEs, because we said, well, what's your development environment to write code is not really safety relevant because the important stuff is then later when you compile your code, and there we have to ensure certain measures as if necessary. But all in all, we try to reduce or to exclude as much as possible, but make the people also aware of that scripts may also be tools. And this is some difficulty there because they check into GitHub and they make another commit and the version changes. And you have sometimes a very hard time to find out what has really changed. Is it only a bug fix that was made, or is it a new feature in this script? Okay, for the visualization, as I told you, what we have done was to take our data from Codebeamer and exported this as an XML file, and took also data from the Toolchain analyzer, which is a really nifty tool from VALIDAS, which helps you to model the tool chains and to keep track of potential errors, methods to mitigate these errors and so on. And we fused these data, did a little bit magic with graphics libraries so that we had a graphical representation of our tools. This is not really sexy, I admit this, but it helps to see where are my tools, in which process steps, and how is the artifact flow. And we had also the ability, if you click on one of these tools, you get to the Codebeamer platform again, back into the list, and you see then the detailed information for this tool. This helped us really, really a lot, as we also had the possibility to define preset filters. If you search for something, for example, which tools have a TCL3, so you see then all tools with TCL3, what are the neighboring tools, and how is the artifact flow, so that you had a better idea where you have to go again and to reclassify or requalify your tools. Okay, for the process, as we had the first setup of all tools, the next step was, of course, how to deal with changes. with these tools, not only for version updates. What happens if new tools come? What happens if a tool is dismissed because it's not used anymore? Because in such a tool, there might be a mitigation. If you dismiss this tool, then your mitigation is gone. Not very nice at the end, but you have to know about this. So we established a process which is really easy, where the tool owners, or we call them tool guards, can submit a ticket, say, hey, I have here a new tool. This is its name, this is its version, this is basically what it does. And so we have it at least on the radar and can approach them and say, okay, let's talk about what is the use case for this? How do you use this? What are the artifacts? What are potential errors, so that we can conduct in the first step a classification. Okay, so this was now mainly how we manage our tool chain at EF. This is not, of course, not the end of the story. We have currently plans how to develop this further and to extend also this process and also this tooling that we have to other departments for the powertrain, for example, or the software factory that we have. Because as simple as it might look, other departments are really eager to copy this and to cooperate with us, because they know we have experience in this, and they also have the need to get away from Excel sheets where they have their lists and use cases listed, and have a common database together of all tools, so that we can also interchange the tools and say, okay, we have a tool here already classified or qualified. We have the same use case. Let's take this, and we're on the safe side.